when I did my class in Colorado Springs, there were issues that were kind of like hot topics that people wanted to ask me about, and I did like a poll. Some of the biggest ones that people ask me about are PCGS versus NGC, NGC versus PCGS. Which is better? Which is what should I do? I particularly use both services in my business. I think they both, as a coin dealer, I know that PCGS likes some coins better than NGC. NGC likes some other coins better than PCGS. As a collector, I encourage you to be less focused on that and more focused on what the coin looks like. I mean, it's not, they're both really, really good services. They try really hard. I've worked closely with both of them over the years, and they want to, they both guard the integrity of their product very, very carefully. If you look at some of the pricing guides, sometimes NGC might be a little bit cheaper on some coins. Sometimes that's because they might give a coin a grade like maybe it's technically perfect, but it's a little darker, a little less eye appeal. Maybe they'll let that be their grade. But in general, the both companies, I believe, I send coins to both of them a lot, so I can't say anything bad about them. There are other companies that grade coins. I think the simplest thing I tell people is to look. If you look at any major auction, 99.5% of the coins are either PCGS or NGC. So when you go to sell your coins, that's probably going to be what you want to be in that category. You don't want to be in that 0.5% that's not in that category. So I think it kind of explains itself. One thing I talk about is how to value tone coins. Now that was a really interesting subject because how to value tone coins is so subjective. It's like unbelievable. You can take a silver dollar that has rainbow toning, and it can be worth $50 in MS63, but it can be worth $500 because it has unbelievable rainbow toning. There really is no right or wrong. It's just how you interpret it, how much you love it. It takes the subjective thing to a whole new level. I can tell you though, there is a fine line between too much toning and beautiful. So if you look at a coin and it's got like a little rainbow on like one corner, but it's a little dark on another, you want to make sure there is a fine line between what's beautiful, considered beautiful and worth a premium, and what's considered toning that's considered a negative. So you owe it to yourself to try to look at that. And I'll tell you an easy way to do it is go to any of the major auction companies and go to their websites and see coins that are auctioning off and look at the prices realized on them. You can learn an amazing amount. I had a silver dollar not long ago, I think an MS66 $85 dollar. It sold for like $3,000, which is like 10 times the price of a regular MS66. But it had just incredible, beautiful rainbow colors on the front and a little bit on the back. And I've had other ones that bring, just about bid because they had a little color. It wasn't considered attractive. So you can study that. And one of the big advantages of coming to a big coin show like this is there's going to be, $50 million worth of coins auctioned this week, and you can sit there and look at them. And also you can have the further knowledge of going and looking at prices realized later, and you can see what those coins brought. So you really have, that is an amazing amount of information that you can acquire as a collector, whatever your specialty is. If you collect mercury dimes, you can go look at a huge amount of mercury dimes in an auction. You can sit there and watch them sell, see who buys them, and really digest an amazing amount of information. So as a collector, I thoroughly encourage people to go to that trouble to try to just don't look at price guides, just don't look at one dealer's coins. A lot of people just got stuck with one dealer and that's who they do business with. And it's good to, even though you might want to just do business with him, you still go look at other coins because you really learn by looking at coins better than any other way. I go to sometimes to auctions and look at coins. I've been doing this for 35 years. I do it sometimes just because I have no intention of buying anything. I just want to see what coins are looking like. I want to see what coins are being graded by the services recently, kind of what their line is, what they considered this or that. Maybe there's a coin that never shows up, and I just want to say, 10 years from now, they'll say, "Boy, did you see that coin?" So yeah, I did see it. It really was a cool coin. What did you think about it? So it's, if you're coming all the way to Chicago to go to a coin show, it's a great opportunity to see a lot of coins and learn by that. So I thoroughly encourage that. Population reports are very, very important. You can look at coins, like an 81S silver dollar, there's probably 100,000 of them graded. Maybe more than that, I don't even know what it is, but you might look at a 81O dollar in 65, and 81O dollar might be 100 of them. So you can pretty much interpret that information and see how that makes a huge impact. And anytime you get near the tops of the pop scales, it starts having a really big impact. And then it can also have help you I have some collectors that really collect really rare coins, and they'll be like, they have a want list. Well, there's no reason looking for something that doesn't even exist. So it's interesting. I said about earlier, there's a lot of gold coins that don't even exist in high grade. So it's kind of good to know kind of what you're looking for, like really what is even possible. So I think the pop reports are fascinating from that. It's also interesting to look at a pop report and then look at one later down the years, and you can see how many have been graded on an ongoing basis and kind of how that changes. That's kind of interesting. CAC, I get a lot of questions about that. I think CAC is good for people who don't want to think about a lot of these things we're talking about, where they don't want to try to determine quality, or they don't want to try to figure that out. They just want to like someone else make all the decisions for them. That's maybe an okay way of doing it, but the negative with CAC is you're probably going to pay 30 to 40% more for the coin with a CAC sticker on it. So if you want to do your own homework and you want someone else to do it for you, then if it's worth 40% to you to do that, then that's your decision to figure that out. But that's really the factors involved in that. It's you're going to pay a good premium, but you have someone else do the thinking for you. So that's how I see that. Some of the other hot topics: how do I interpret gray sheet versus blue sheet? Well, gray sheet is kind of like what I said before. It's kind of like the sightseeing bid, like for a bid for a nice coin. Blue sheet's kind of for a coin that's like the worst example possible. Like sometimes they'll be like an 87S silver dollar will sell at an auction. Let's say it bids in gray sheet at $1,500, but it sold for $900. Well, it was just dark and no one really liked it. Well, they'll put that in blue sheet. That's the price of your report in blue sheet. So the blue sheet prices, I don't really use blue sheet a lot because it's the lowest common denominator. I don't find it very useful, but it is, it's kind of like using Blue Book, which Blue Book I didn't talk about earlier is the wholesale version of the Red Book. It's like the lowest price. It's the lowest common denominator type pricing guide. So that's kind of how that works. We talked about premium quality coins a little bit. I've already explained to you, the reason we want to look for those and do that. Another thing that's kind of complicated for people is brown, red prices. That can be like an astounding difference. You can have a 1871 2-cent piece in brown, and it's worth 1,000. MS60 and MS65 or 64 or whatever, and then the next in red it would be $20,000. So it makes a huge amount of difference. I know some people, I wouldn't say this to everybody, probably kill me, but a lot of people think that they love red copper coins. Well, to me, a red copper coin is just a coin that's going to be red brown someday, just a matter of you outlive it or not. So I think that's just. I don't see, but there's people who want to have that finest known red coin, so they're all excited. I got back yesterday a 1910s penny in 66 red, so I was thrilled, and I'm sure someone will pay a huge amount of money for it. So there is a big premium for that red, but that's up to you to decide if that's really what you want to do. I'm kind of like Dave Bowers. He looks at things like he likes to buy the highest quality coin before it takes the huge jump to the next grade. That's kind of like a buying advice that he gives people, and I like that. To me, if you can buy a red-brown coin for not much more than a brown coin, then that's a great deal. But if you have to pay 10 times more for a red coin than a red-brown coin, then I don't think so good. So that's kind of it. But those are all personal decisions because I don't want to second-guess some guy. I know some guys that put together MS65 and better sets of Lincoln pennies, and their collection's worth an amazing fortune now. So they would tell me I'm wrong about that. So that it's just going to be you to decide. Another one was talked about is how to value extreme rarities. That's an interesting subject because sometimes coins only appear at auction. You'll see, there's some coins it'll only show up maybe every 20 years. There was like a coin that sold here, an interesting coin. I'll give you a good example of this. In 1983, I bought from David Stagg. It showed out of the woodwork at a coin show in California. I bought an 1855S $3 gold piece in proof. I bought it from him for $50,000 in 1983, and I sold it at the same coin show for $55,000, which that sounds pretty good in 1983. I was real happy, but unfortunately I probably spent the $5,000, so that's gone. And that coin sold 5 years ago for $290,000. That sounds pretty astounding, doesn't it? Well, guess what? It sold this weekend for $1.3 million. So how do no price guy's going to tell you that. So that's an example of like, it's really for extreme rarities. You just don't. That's a coin that's unique, and it almost auctions the only way you're going to find that information out. So it's really, really interesting. What will two people pay for the finest known of a coin? And today, the extreme rarities are bringing just prices that are just unbelievable, which that's a good example of. So, at $1.3 million, I was pretty shocked. That was just a 5-year increase of $1 million in a $300,000 coin.